Ever since I grew enough to give a damn, I just wanted to love better than any man. Probably something to do with my mom's death, a fear hearing the end upon a woman's breath. Maybe
odd one out. This is a loaded song. Basically, I grew up a devout Christian, the Brethren denomination of Christianity. I was convinced of it. I steadily became quite involved, not just in Sunday church, but I eventually went to Bible college and graduated from that. And after my home church split, which is a whole other issue, there were a lot of roles that opened up. So I ended up at around 20 years old being a teacher of the senior high classes on Sundays, which was in partnership with another teacher. I also ended up leading the youth group with some other people, and I preached some. I was no stranger to ministries. The rest of my family was pretty involved as well on their own levels for the most part. There's a girl on this song who is reading something in the beginning. What she's reading is part of a poem that she wrote during her darkest days. This is part of a journal that she was writing at the time. She suffered a lot purely at the hands of religious influence. And the hardest thing in the world is to get religious people to understand that. I didn't understand it at all when I was a Christian, and I was trying to help her, and I couldn't. None of us could. We all cared about her. She knew that. And she certainly had no willful intent to see her life go down the drain or to disappoint family or anything like that. This was a situation that was filled with well-meaning people on both sides, yet it just resulted in this continual declination. This was early in her teen years, declining into anorexia, clinical depression, self-harm, alcoholism, drugs, all kinds of, I've heard, back then I had an idea. I've recently been able to reconnect with her, and I've had a lot more of the stories told, and it's important to understand what happened to her. And I didn't really start to get it until I stopped becoming a Christian in my own journey and started to experience treatment from Christians as a result. This isn't to say that they, put a gun to my head or whatever and said, you need to come back to the church or whatever. But again, very well-meaning people who just really did not understand what was happening and who continually pushed an agenda, whether gently or not, that ultimately what I was doing was wrong. I'll explain in the next video why this was profoundly false. But essentially, Odd One Out is about being that black sheep, especially within a religious context. The song started out in more of a relationship sort of context, but as I was writing it, I realized that, again, a lot of the issues that I've gone through in my life are rooted in religion in some form or another. Again, the hardest thing in the world is to get a religious person to understand this. I can't explain the mind fuck it is to have been a devout Christian, to have really believed in a deity, to have really looked outside and seen his signature on everything, and to spend my time and my energy trying to tell other people, whether it was in basic conversations with friends or going to camps and counseling or preaching or doing the youth group or whatever, ministries while going to Bible college. I spent a lot of my time believing this, deep in it, deeper than most of the people in my family. I can't explain what it's like to literally come out of that and start to process things yourself and to start seeing things differently, to the point where I'm now an atheist. As a result, it's made me out to be this black sheep. If you've ever felt like the odd one out, if you ever felt like the black sheep in your family, especially if it's in regard to not following the life that they think you should be following, then that song is definitely for you. And if you can relate on some level, definitely let me know when you listen to it. The girl on this song, she's told me that she doesn't understand why I take so much responsibility in not really being much of a help to her back in the day because I didn't know any better, which is true. I didn't really know any better, but nevertheless, you know, when something that you do is not helpful and doesn't help a person, I think it is that person's responsibility to own that. And ignorance is not enough of an excuse. In the same way that, you know, being drunk is not good enough an excuse to excuse getting into a car accident with somebody. Just not being aware is not an excuse. It doesn't mean that I should have known necessarily. I feel like I couldn't. I feel like I tried. But because I didn't, and because what I did was not helpful, ultimately, it is something that I do own, and I've been trying to be a better influence in her life. Again, it's unfortunate that it almost cost her life on so many different occasions, and that it's something that she is still dealing with the effects of. She's doing so much better than she ever was, so much better, and she is only herself to credit for that. She did that without anybody's help, without anybody's proper support. Again, this isn't to suggest that that people weren't caring along the way, that people weren't doing things to help, so to speak. I know that we all did that, but again, this isn't about that. This is about whether or not what we did was truly what she needed, because we just had no idea how to deal with non-Christians, essentially. We only knew Christian solutions. It's so important that we don't treat people this way. Religion is not good at understanding the non-religious. It really isn't. And the problem is religious people think that they're good at it. They think that they're insightful, and they may even have examples in their life with other people where they can say, see, yes we are. And there's a lot more to those examples. Through my journey from being a devout Christian to now an atheist, it's so far been about 12 years, and I haven't spent a single day not thinking about all these things and not researching and not questioning and doubting and discovering. It's been quite a ride. So that's Odd One Out. Definitely, if you can relate in any way, let me know. Foibles Fiction on digital stores worldwide. Check it out.
Never be afraid to doubt, and if you wander off your path, carve a new one out. When I'm down and I'm feeling lonely, I don't need your